What is up? We are here for the divisional weekend of the DFS Power Hour for the playoffs. We are going to be covering the main slate, 4 games. We have Elliot with us from TQE. Elliot, dude, what is up?
What's going on, guys? I'm excited for this weekend's games. There's actually good offenses playing as opposed to last week.
So good. You ready for this one? Such a good slate.
Yeah, dude, this is probably the second best slate after all of the preseason slates. So I think I'm stoked for this one.
Football quality is a little bit better than the preseason slates.
No. No.
No? Yeah, not quite.
No, not at all. I could care less the quality of the games that I'm watching. I literally watch football because I have money on it. If I had no action on football, I'd probably be a better father. I'd probably be in better shape. I'd definitely be a better skater. I don't watch these games because I like football.
I would 100% be in a better shape at some point, health-wise. I should probably take it.
Right? No?
Yeah. I probably still wouldn't be in better shape. But hey man, let's just let's dig in and get through this slate here. So the first game again this weekend is the the best game of the slate. Though I would argue that I think the last game of the slate is pretty close to as good. But let's dive into the Colts at the Chiefs, and let's see. I think this is probably where people are going to get their quarterbacks. I think that Luck and Mahomes will be the two highest owned quarterbacks on the slate. Either of you have any reason to not like these guys?
To not like them, it's really hard not to like one of these guys, especially Mahomes. I mean, this is a team that hasn't put up less than 26 points this season. They're scoring 32 points per game at home. He's thrown over 3 touchdowns. He's averaging like 29 DK points per game. On this slate with so many high-scoring teams, you're going to need a quarterback that scores 30 points, and that's kind of what Mahomes is going to average. So I think he's a fantastic play this week.
So are you on if you're building one lineup, are you using Mahomes or Luck?
The other guy I'm really strongly considering is Jared Goff. For the savings at 5,500 based on the fact that he's at home, and I think the Cowboys will be able to score 20 or more points. But we'll talk more about Goff. But Mahomes, if you can afford the salary to get there, is absolutely in play. But the thing is, I anticipate Luck is what? He's throwing nearly 40 times a game. The Chiefs force a ton of passes as well. The Chiefs' one aspect of defense that's been fantastic is pressuring the quarterback with Chris Jones, Dee Ford, and Justin Houston. But the Colts have only allowed more than 3 sacks twice this entire season. They've really protected Andrew Luck incredibly well. And you can attack this this Chiefs defense down the field, which makes me like Hilton a lot, with the fact that they give about 40% of their yards are on passes 15 or more yards down the field, which is an incredibly high rate. Plus, they struggle to cover the tight end. So I think there's a lot of really good stuff going on in this game.
Hodge, what do you think? And then I'm going to say something about Luck that I think people really aren't discussing yet.
I think that the price separation is exactly what it needs to be. I think you can project Patrick Mahomes for probably 3 to 3.5 points more on a median projection, which if that's your thing, median projections. And I think that warrants the price separation here at home for a team that's putting up roughly 30 points per game when they're at home. Elliot, you might know the number exactly. It's like 30.5 or 31, whatever. It's close. And their ownership, I think, is going to be relatively the same too. I do think that Andrew Luck carries a little bit more ownership just because of the price savings. If not, I think that they're going to be extremely, extremely close though. So your question was, if I'm playing one lineup, what am I doing? I'm playing Patrick Mahomes.
So I want to be on that side. So one thing that I have sort of been really digging on Luck is that he's been running the ball a ton over the last few weeks. He has 6, 6, 2, 7, and 8 rushing attempts over the last 5 weeks. He had 8 attempts against Houston when they controlled the game the entire game. So he only had 32 passing attempts. This is playoff mode where there's no reason for Luck to not be running the ball. So, I mean, if you're giving him like a 5 to 8 attempt rushing floor, feels really awesome. Like, I feel like Luck, everyone says that Mahomes is like the clear, just like play him over Luck, but I think it's a lot closer.
I think you have to. I think whenever you have a 4-game slate, you have to start telling yourself stories on different games, right? So I've heard people throw out the fact that the Chiefs can't stop the run, and can the Colts get out in front and control the game and try to play time of possession. But I don't really see that happening. I don't think the Colts defense is going to be able to slow them down. TQE has talked a lot about guys' performance man versus zone, and this game seems to be the most popular game I've ever witnessed, talking about how much the Colts play zone and how Mahomes has done against zone. I think both quarterbacks are in play, and if Luck plays in catch-up mode, I mean, we saw that game against Houston where they had to play catch-up mode, and he threw 62 times. And he has the rushing ability, and I think T.Y. Hilton makes a lot of sense. They can't cover tight ends. We know how he loves to use Ebron. And if the only thing the Chiefs can do to stop people is get pressure. So if he can get the protection, Luck has a major ceiling in this game. I would say that Mahomes' floor is higher than Luck's. And Mahomes just has these crazy numbers. But then you counter the fact first start in the playoffs, and that's a little bit of concern. But Andy Reid off a bye also has incredible numbers. Andrew Luck's numbers versus Andy Reid aren't very good. Like, you can find a lot of numbers on either side. I think ultimately this game is set to score a lot of points and have a lot of back and forth against 2 weak secondaries.
Yep. No, I'm with you. And I think you want to have plenty of exposure to both. But to say like, oh, I like Luck more than the field is, everyone likes Luck, but I think I like Luck a little more than the field. I guess I'll pitch this to Hodge. Do you have any concerns over the weather? Not necessarily the snow, because the Chiefs have a heated field, but just the fact that this game is probably going to be the coldest, or at least this game and the Patriots game will both push to be the 2 coldest games on the slate.
What's the projected temp in the game? Hold on. That's what I'm getting at right there, though. It doesn't matter, right? Like, if it was so important, I feel like we would all know the projected temp, and I truly don't think that it's that big of a deal. I'm such a fade the weather. You better have a game be canceled because of weather for me to start factoring it in. I mean, how many times do you hear about a snowstorm game? And like, yes, we've seen stuff. I think like 2016, that Bills game where there was literally like 4 feet of snow on the ground. Like, that was nuts, right?
Yeah,
but
it's not that.
I'm literally not worried about grown men doing what they get paid millions of dollars to do in 30 to 33 degree weather. Like, I'm so fine
with 1 inch of snow, right?
But the snow. I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter. But I'm saying that it will matter to someone. It should. But
yeah, you're saying it will matter to some random DFS player, not to a. Yeah. Yes, I totally agree. And I think when you're making your lineup, that the snow doesn't exist, especially if you are hand building 3 max or 20 max stuff. That's when hand building and having these little tiny thoughts in the back of your head of like, oh, that weather was supposed to be, oh, all right, I guess I'll dial back Patrick Mahomes in this lineup just because that's what I'm going to use as this tiebreaker. Like, no, don't. I don't think you should use this stuff as tiebreakers in any way, shape, or form.
Right. No, I'm with you there. Just figured we'd get that out of the way early. All right, so let's talk Damian Williams, because I think that's probably really the biggest question of the slate. I think, at least to start off for the first game, is whether or not you're playing Damian Williams, and whether or not Ware will come back. I think probably all 3 of us are on the same page that if Ware is declared inactive, then Damian Williams becomes probably the the best point per dollar running back play on the slate if he's declared out. I think we would all agree there. But so let's just like pretend that Ware is active. That's something that I don't have the greatest handle on. What his role will be or whether he even is going to play.
So this is why I think you're probably the best preseason football player that they're like hands down. I think your results have spoken and proven that you're very good at digesting news. And what I don't really know what to make of going forward is where was available to play last week, and he was like a healthy scratch, right? Isn't that what happened? Like he was practicing, and they just ruled him inactive. But I think he was a healthy scratch. So
I don't on week 17.
I don't think he was. So that's what I have been wondering about.
And yeah, sorry, let me reiterate. That was week 17, right?
Yeah.
Not last week. Sorry.
It really, really feels like Ware had an aggravation on Friday or Saturday leading up to that week 17 game. He practiced in full all week, and then suddenly he's questionable. Whereas they could have just said Ware's good to go, but he's just not going to play this weekend. There was none of that. I mean, they didn't. The team has made no statements on him, and then he comes out after the week 17 game, and he practices only limited ever since then. And it's a hamstring, so the hamstrings can be really weird and shaky.
I agree.
So
go ahead, Elliot.
Why do you throw out that it's possible their roles change too, right? With how well Williams played.
Williams got the extension. They just paid him.
Right. So
maybe. So let's talk about that real quick. We have no idea what that contract is. None of the numbers have been released. So who knows? It could be like $1 million a year with a bunch of incentives. I've been trying to find the numbers on that contract for 3 weeks. Doesn't exist.
But even if we throw out the contract, they're probably much more comfortable giving Williams an increased workload.
Increased workload, 100%.
But the question is whether or not it's 50-50 or 70-30.
And that's what I was gonna say. Let's pretend like we know it's 70-30. Let's say that Andy Reid come out and said, I can guarantee you I'm doing 70-30. Or we have a time machine and we can at least see that they have 70-30. At that point, I am still playing Damian Williams in my running back 3 slot.
Lock button.
Yeah, 70% is so fine for me.
They're good against the run, but they funnel passes to the running back.
Yes.
Here's the big question.
That's where Williams is really good. Ware has the advantage in the pass protection. That's the issue.
Is Williams the goal line back if Ware is active?
No.
That really hurts. I mean, that really hurts, right?
I actually think that is going to be game flow dependent.
That makes sense.
And yeah, I don't think that they're swapping them in and out and hurry up or anything like that, right? But yes, to just really drive what you guys are saying, I totally agree. If they have the opportunity to swap, I absolutely think Ware is a goal line back there.
I think regardless, Williams is a great value at 5,100.
Yeah, I think he is too. But I think
I'm gonna play James White if nothing changes. I'm playing James White.
I want to play both. James White is the best value on the slate right now.
Yeah,
he's not. It's Ted Ginn, but we'll get there.
Well, so running back.
Why do you have to always correct me? Okay, you can't just let me put my steak salad with honey mustard in it, and I can't just enjoy Gladiator. I can't just say that James White is the best value on the slate.
You know what I'm gonna do? At some point, my wife just got home. She is a honey mustard lover. She absolutely loves honey mustard. I'm gonna bring her over here, and I haven't asked her this question. I'm gonna ask her. And you gotta trust me. She's the biggest honey mustard truther that
she's behind you listening.
Come here. Come here. So this is Elliot right
Hi.
here.
Elliot.
Hi, Hodge likes me no matter what he says.
You love honey mustard, right? Like okay. He puts honey mustard on his steak.
I could do that.
No, babe.
I could do that.
Yes.
I'm not supposed to say I would do that. I just lost you a bet. Did we just lose money?
Did we just lose money? She thinks I had action on that, which I'm kind of surprised we didn't.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, guys, that's it for me.
I can't even believe that just happened.
I wish we. Can we just put that moment on Twitter?
Life changing.
All right, where were we at?
So back to where. So here's the thing. if like where could be like, I don't know, 30-40% of the snaps and Damian Williams is 50-60% owned, that's like a really important hedge to make to be like, I'll probably be under the field on Damian Williams if Ware is active. But then if Ware is inactive, I'll probably have close to like 80-90% of Damian Williams in my lineups.
I really want to see, especially, I know you guys use FanShare as well, where those ownership percentages are at tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because when I recorded the FanShare podcast this morning, it was at 16% Damian Williams. There's no way that's accurate.
No. I think it's super accurate if nothing changes. If the news that we have today is exactly what we have going into this 3:05 lock or 4:05 Eastern lock or 4:35 Eastern lock tomorrow, I think that ownership relatively stays kind of where it's at 16%, because I think that's fine. And I will just agree with what Proctor's saying. If Ware is out, I'm 3xing the field on Damian Williams. If Damian Williams is projected to be at 35% ownership, I actually think that I might have like 90 to 100% ownership of him.
You guys know I'm a 3-max kind of player, so as right now, Damian Williams is in every lineup I have.
Wow, I don't know if I'm doing that.
But keep in mind, my lineups make it's until I get that news.
Yeah.
But there's the thing is, I think the Chiefs have the biggest two pieces to drop, right? Sammy Watkins is another news that matters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Let's swing to the wide receivers.
Are you guys playing Mac?
Yeah, I was hoping to just like not speak about him. So here's the thing about Mac. So I was like really digging in to try and find reasons to find a reason to just say I'm gonna stone cold fade Mac. And I'm like, all right, so maybe the Chiefs, the Chiefs haven't faced a ton of rushing attempts. Not true. They're like middle of the pack in rushing attempts faced. I'm like, oh, they've been like, they've gotten better against the run. Not true. They've been the stone worst against the run the entire season. They allowed the league's highest yards per carry, third most rushing touchdowns. Teams have run against them even when they're like getting beat because they're just so bad against the run. Like you can just like run at will against them. But one thing that TJ found that Mac has like really bad splits when the Colts are like losing or playing catch up. So they had 6 games where they won by a margin of 1 score or less, or they lost. Mac averaged 12 carries in those games. And in games where Colts allowed more than 17 points, he averages 15 carries. So
I think he's the most game script dependent player on the entire slate.
Right.
If you're building lineups with Mac in them, they have to be around the Colts win the game, or keep it close.
Yeah, it has to stay close.
Because
so, you can't play like Tyreek Hill and Marlon Mack in the same lineup. Just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it's
like if Hill scores 40, Mack is dead. Like stoned.
Marlon Mack has an amazing first half, and the Chiefs But let's talk about receivers, because I think you're absolutely right. Marlon Mack is game script dependent, and it really comes down to like if you're a stone cold believer that the Colts are winning the game tomorrow, you should have Marlon Mack in your lineup.
Right. Yeah, Mack and Colts defense. Like if I was doing 150, I'm gonna have a couple of those.
Agreed.
Because if Mahomes throws a pick 6, giddy up for Mac. And I think, Mahomes is not turnover proof.
No. Well, he throws no-look passes. I know we're all really fond of the fact that he hit a dummy in a video with Peter King. And Hodge is really excited that, Nick Foles can throw ducks without looking. But I don't even know what I wanted to say. I just wanted to insult Hodge. I've had that video in the back of my head all day.
You said that, and I go, he's got nothing after this. He just wanted to get it. He just wanted to get one out there on me.
But the receivers, I mean, Hilton is one of my favorite values on the slate. The only concern I have is the fact that it's outdoors and his splits indoor outdoor. But the fact that the Chiefs, I don't think he can cover anybody, especially down the field. And if the Colts line can protect, I think Hilton has a monster game. And he's also, by the way, in my opinion, fully healthy. He looked fine last week.
He's not fully healthy, but I think he's healthy enough.
Healthy enough.
But I don't play Hilton on grass. I just don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hilton is surely a turf guy for me, preferably at home on the turf. And this is a game where I think when you're looking at the Colts wide receivers, with Ryan Grant being ruled out again, I think Dontrell Inman definitely got a price hike, and I think he was so appealing last week is because of how cheap he was. He's 4,800 on DraftKings this week, and so he's not as appealing. But I do think he makes sense in specific roster construction when trying to jam in some of these running backs, or if trying to jam in Kelsey. I think like
game stacking this.
Or
he
what?
Makes game stacks.
Yeah. Oh, 100. Yeah. In your Andrew Luck groups, he 100% is a part of those groups. I just know we definitely cater towards a crowd that plays a lot of cash, a lot of 3-max. There's a handful of multi-entry guys in our Slack, but I do think that Ginn is a fantastic play. Proctor will go on about him, but then for me, the next cheap guy that I really like is Dontrell Inman. Chiefs ranked 29th in adjusted fantasy points allowed towards wide receivers. If you're getting Inman in a game that, if you do think that this gets close to the total, this looks great for all of these wide receivers involved.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hypothetically, if this game was on turf, would you be all in on T.Y. Hilton?
Yeah. At that price.
I wouldn't use the word all in, but I definitely think I would at that point try and be at least 2x the field on him for sure.
That makes sense.
So here's the thing, Elliot.
The only concern I have with him is it's outdoors on grass.
So here's the thing.
So I don't want to.
I'm going to ask you a question, Elliot. How many touchdowns has T.Y. Hilton scored over the last 4 years on grass?
Not many. I saw the splits today. That's why I brought it up.
The answer is 4.
Well,
it's 4 grass touchdowns over the last 4 years.
How many clown T-shirts has RotoWare made in the last week involving T.Y. Hilton?
More than he's scored touchdowns on the grass. But it's just like here's what I was talking to Ben Brooks in my office today. Like, I feel if this wasn't a 4-game slate, like Hilton wouldn't even be a question. Like, people wouldn't want to play Hilton because of the splits, right? So like, it has been a negative EV thing to play Hilton outdoors on grass over his entire career. So I'm not going to make that exception just because it's a condensed slate and play him this time.
Okay. No, this is why I mentioned that. And by the way, Sharon, I appreciate you calling me handsome before. It's the first time I've ever been complimented in a Power Hour chat. And I know you're telling me that TY sucks on grass, so I just want to give you a quick shout out. But it's a very real concern of mine. I'm not going to go all in on Hilton, but I wanted it's important to be discussed, I think, because the matchup is very good if it wasn't for outdoor on grass.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think you should have some Hilton and like 20 max or plus, but in my main 3 teams that I build, I won't have him.
Okay.
I think Hodge is with me there.
The guy I want most in this game is Kelsey. I want one of the quarterbacks, and I want Kelsey.
Hodge, are you with me on Hilton?
100% with you on Hilton. Yeah. The only way that Hilton makes it into 150 is because I'll have Hilton in some of my groups. It's that simple. But in the power sweep, full fade.
Yep. Yeah, and then I think Inman's a really, really strong play. Red zone. I mean, the red zone targets, the end zone targets. He's the if it's not Ebron, it's likely Inman as your bet for a touchdown.
It's got to be somebody. The Colts aren't going to not score.
No, they're definitely going to score. But at the same time, this is one of those Luck we've talked about for years as a guy who's he's not just throwing to one player. This isn't Deshaun Watson throwing to DeAndre Hopkins. Luck is happy to throw to random fucking dudes. How many times has Luck thrown a touchdown to someone? Yeah, right. Luck's going to throw a touchdown to someone this week, and we're going to be like, we didn't even know he was on the roster.
Zach on the slate? Patriots on a showdown slate where you play him in the captain spot for $200 and he gets 9 targets and ends up with 1 point. It's fun.
Yep. You don't play Colts showdowns unless you just want to have 150 teams because good luck.
It's like Drew Brees in the later game. It's the same thing. He's come very comfortable spreading the ball around. You said it's not?
No, we'll get there. I feel like I'm on an island with Brees, but we'll get to that one. All right, so let's talk tight ends though. Eric Ebron, I'm gonna pitch this to both of you. Ebron has been limited for 5 weeks, and I don't know why he has been, but he's only playing 30, 40, 50% of the snaps since that he had that 16 target game against the Jags, and he has just not been the same since. After that game, he had 5 injuries, and ever since then, he just hasn't been crushing. Either of you have any concerns over his health? I have some concerns over his health. I still like him, and then we'll talk about Kelsey.
No, I think I think with Ebron, it's a great matchup. It really is. But I think at this point, you're playing him for the touchdown. He's not a guy that's going to get the bonus. He's gotten it once this entire year.
Yeah,
he's priced up. I mean, he's in a much better matchup than Zach Ertz, but Zach Ertz is $200 more, which makes for an interesting pivot. But ultimately, if I'm going to pay up that much for a tight end, I'm just going to go all the way up to Travis Kelce, who's got almost as good of a matchup and is 5 times the player that Ebron is.
I think Ebron had the bonus when he was healthy. He's not getting that volume right now.
But I think he had it once, right? Once the entire year?
Yeah, but he had 16. He had 16 targets and had 80 yards that week. I mean, if you get 12 plus targets at tight end, you can have 100 yards.
100%. Well, Kelsey's a legit wide receiver, though, right? We're playing.
I agree. I'm just saying you're not getting 12 targets with Ebron anymore. That's ship.
He's in the 5 to 6 range. That's you're playing him because the second they get in the red zone, they try to get in the football.
Right. Yeah. Hodge, what are your thoughts on Ebron?
I think his snaps are probably one of the largest concerns. I think that if you go back to 15, 16, and 17, you're looking at a 50% snap, and I would have to double check to see what his health was then, but it's concerning. I do think that there's enough discount at that position where between him and Kelsey to where it kind of makes sense. But in cash, man, I really think it's Kelsey, or I really think you're punting. I think this is actually very similar philosophy as to what we did all of 2018,
Yeah, sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I prefer Ertz to Ebron. Just
a third of the ownership.
More talented player, full-time player. That's sort of my thoughts. Either of these defenses, I think Chiefs is okay, but don't love it.
Yeah, I don't love any of the defenses this week. And it's always uncomfortable to typically roster defenses on slates like this. Just because you have 3 of the 4 games at totals of 50 plus points. The one is just shy of it at 48 or 47.5. And so usually when you're targeting a defense here, usually best just to target the home defense in a high implied total game, because you're just then at that point you're just looking for passing volume from the other team. And so in this case, I don't mind the Chiefs and I don't mind the Colts. The Colts are so cheap; they're $2,100 or something like that. And so I kind of, especially in large field stuff, you kind of just play the defense that fits. and you don't typically take a stand. You just kind of disperse your ownership. So that's typically how I treat it. Yeah, defense definitely. I don't have a strong take in all honesty.
Yep, sort of how I feel on this one.
I feel the same way. I mean, if I had to pick a team, I'd pick the Chiefs because they're pretty cheap, and the fact that Andrew Luck has been known to throw some pick sixes, and you do get Tyreek Hill on punt returns.
Right. Yep. I think we're all on the same page there. Next game. Elliot, I'm gonna let you go first because it seems like you think Dallas is a better team than I think they are. Dallas at the Rams.
Wait, I think Dallas is a better team than you think they are.
You said something like you would expect the Cowboys to put up 20 points.
Oh, what I said was, yeah, that is what I said. But what I said was the fact that the Cowboys' implied team total is 21 in this game, and when opponents have put up 20 or more points against the Rams, Jared Goff has averaged 30.3 DK points, and at home this year he's averaging 28.1. I think that Goff is a really good play at 5,500. Right now his ownership, he's projected by FanShare as the 5th highest owned quarterback. He's $100 more than Nick Foles, and Nick Foles is more popular.
Yeah, I'm not playing Nick Foles.
No, me neither. I think Nick Foles is about to experience that pool life where all men are created equal. Thank you for laughing at that joke. I was really proud of it. But I think that Jared Goff is going to throw the ball a lot this game. I think he's going to have a good game. And I think at $5,500, if I'm not going to play Luck or Mahomes, I'm going to pay down for Jared Goff. That allows me to pay up for somebody else. There's also this game, like Robert Woods at $5,900 is way too cheap, in my opinion. I mean, he's going to avoid Byron Jones for the most part. He's only scored single-digit points on DraftKings twice this year. Once was week 1, once was last week where he got pulled early. I think they're going to find ways to get him the football. He's got 25-point upside in this game at 5,900. And you get a Jared Goff, Robert Woods stack, and then you can really load up elsewhere with the Chiefs-Colts game.
I'm kind of okay with Goff too. I don't know. I feel so weird about Dallas. Like I just feel
Dallas
like
is also a different home road team.
Right.
Like they have 14. They have 14 less sacks in road games this year. They only have 13 total sacks.
Isn't Dallas missing 2 of their huge offensive line pieces too?
No. Dallas is Tyron Smith and Zach Martin are technically questionable. They're going to play. Malik Collins is missing.
Yeah.
And
then I thought their left guard was missing too.
They are missing a guard.
Yeah.
We're talking about Connor Williams starting, right?
I can't pronounce his name.
Ziafolo or whatever his name is.
Yep, can't pronounce it. But he's out.
I think Donald gets pressure here is really what I'm getting at. I do not think that they line up Donald on Zach Martin. We watched them shift Donald around Zach Martin, I think, last game after the half. I would have to go double check, and I think that's how that they're going to create pressure here. Dak has been relatively fine under pressure, and he actually leads a lot of numbers when it comes to passer rating and completed passes under pressure, but he's still taking a lot of sacks under pressure. So that's why I say he's relatively fine under pressure. He's a little give and take on both. So I do think that the Rams get. And
I think the Rams are the best defense on the slate. When you add in the fact that they're playing zone about 70,
they're expensive.
Yeah, I don't like paying up for defenses, but I'm saying like in a
raw, yeah, price agnostic. I agree. I totally agree.
Especially because they played so much zone since Talib's come back, and we know Dak splits against zone, and they're going to get pressure up the middle.
Yeah, in all honesty, the one true piece that I want from this offense is Ezekiel Elliott, and then I'm kind of moving on.
Yeah, for the record, I'm with you. I like Zeke, Gurley, Woods, Goff, and the Rams defense in this game.
I like a lot more of the Rams than I do Dallas. From the Dallas side of the ball, it's Elliott. I really like Woods, and I really like Gurley, and I probably won't have a ton of Goff other than groups, but I think I'll probably be underweight to the field on Goff.
I think Goff is the quarterback sub 6K that has the opportunity, the ceiling, to match a Mahomes or Luck.
Right. I think you should put Breeze in that conversation as well.
Yeah, yes.
But Breeze is
But
6K.
under, yeah, he said under 6K.
Yeah, sorry, that's
I
just
know,
to be clear.
to match those three.
Yes, Breeze 100%. Breeze can throw like 4 touchdowns to Dan Arnold and Keith and Kirkwood.
Killer Keith.
And I know Ted Ginn's going off for a 60-yard bomb, Johnny, this week. I completely agree. By the way, I have a couple stats to back that up.
Yeah.
I'll let you have that moment of glory, but I just want to say that I have your back on that one. Gerald Everett, by the way, I think is the punt at tight end this week. I don't know if you guys agree, but
I'm gonna talk about Gerald Everett, but I think Reynolds and Cooks are fine.
Mm-hmm.
So on Everett, everyone keeps citing this stat that they ran more 2 tight end sets. They ran more 2 tight end sets, and they did it against the Cardinals. And then they didn't do it the following week. They were back to putting Reynolds on the field. So I don't know why Reynolds barely played against the Cardinals, but he was back to like his full-time wide receiver 3 role the following week. He played 35 of 68 snaps against the Cardinals. He was back to 70 of 73. Against the 49ers, he had 7 targets, and Everett went back to his non-existent role and had 1 target.
Can I ask you a question? Isn't it also, in terms of the 12 personnel, didn't Woods and Cooks play less snaps too, which led to Reynolds more snaps?
I mean, Woods got hurt, but Reynolds was out there. Reynolds was out there on all the snaps to start the game.
Okay.
So, I mean, Woods played 50 snaps against the 49ers, so the whole first half they ran 3 wide.
Okay. Listen, I'm bitter, but that moment sticks out to me because in the $1,500 I had Josh Reynolds hanging out, and I was in good shape. And then all of a sudden, Josh Reynolds stopped playing football, which was fun. But I'm talking about a pure. I'm gonna probably have 100% Kelsey, but I'm trying to find a sub 3K tight end.
So my question is, why is Gerald Everett a better play than Hunter Henry?
I think Everett will play more snaps than Hunter Henry.
Well, will he? Will he run more routes?
You don't think Hunter Henry's going to be on a pitch count?
Sure, but I think he's going to run a route every time he's on the field.
Yes.
Yeah, and Rivers going to throw the ball 30 times in that game. So what you need Henry to have 6 or 7 targets?
Why are you thinking 30 pass attempt? Well, whatever. Let's talk about.
Well, he averages 31, so that's what I was throwing at.
Okay.
Gerald Everett's getting really popular, and I just don't love the idea of like a 30% owned tight end who's coming off a 1 target game who barely played.
You want to know why Everett is popular?
I just want to punt.
Because Peter Jennings says that Jared on the pod that he was considering him as a punt option, and that right then and there, that immediately creates waves. Even if people weren't on him, somebody like Silva will now talk about Everett just a little bit. And I'm not saying that these people can't think for themselves, because I did the same thing. I went, oh, let me go look at Everett. Wasn't really considering punting at tight end. Oh, he's got 120 routes ran since like week 10 or something like that. Let's look at his targets. Okay, it's like 3.5 targets per game. And so I'm just based off some of that very rudimentary stuff, I go, okay, Everett looks like a good punt. And then I have you talk me on or off of Gerald Everett is really what it comes down to.
He's Blake Jarwin.
He is. So Johnny, tell me if you agree with this or not. When I originally did my research, right, before I have ownership and understanding of how many people are going to be on Everett, I kind of looked at weeks 14 through 16. I saw that he had 20 total targets. He had 12% of the air yards, and the Cowboys funnel about 20% of their targets to the tight end. And I said, okay, this guy's near minimum price. He's $2,700. If he's going to be like a 5 to 10% guy, he's worth punting to load up on studs. But if he's going to be more than that, at that point you lose your leverage on the field, and it's not worth punting anymore.
So here's my question: they had 2 games in a row where they heavily utilized tight ends, and they fucking lost both of them. And then they went back to not using them as much, and they've had 2 wins.
His usage has gone up since Kupp has left too, though.
I mean, sort of.
A little.
It's not like, I mean, he's probably not getting you a 0, but he definitely can.
The thing is, and I think this is really important with Kelsey. If Kelsey has a ceiling game and you punt at tight end, you lose.
Right, but he has to
cannot win a GPP.
802 to kill you.
Agree, but I'm saying like if he has a ceiling game, honestly, even if he has a 20-point game and you punt at tight end and punts don't work, you're in real in terms of winning a GPP.
Sure. No, I mean Kelsey. Here's my question on Kelsey, and Hodgen and Andy Cole and I were all talking about this earlier. Kelsey is priced as he has been for most of the season, right? I mean, his price is a normal price. Gurley and Zeke and Robert Woods, and I'm just throwing out more names. Brandon Cooks, Tyreek Hill, they're all priced down. I mean, they're like $1,000 lower than they should be.
In general. I don't know what happened to DraftKings algorithm in terms of wide receivers and running backs, but they stopped pricing people appropriately.
Right. So Kelsey is priced appropriately, and the running backs are all cheaper. So do you play Kelsey, or do you play running back?
Lower Kelsey ownership, you think?
No, he's gonna be the highest owned tight end.
Right now, he's tied in ownership projections with Eric Ebron.
Yeah, it won't actually be close, I don't think.
Okay.
Hodge, what do you think about that whole pricing thing? Like
What
with
price?
Kelsey being $7K, that's like his normal price, and all the running backs being like $1,000 or more lower than they should be.
Why do I think DraftKings did it, or what's the question?
Like, what does it do to your brain? Like, it just fucks me right in the brain.
Yeah. So my gut fish instinct was I'm playing 3 high-end running backs, and I'm not worrying about Travis Kelce in cash. That is immediately what I went to, is that paying down at tight end and paying up at running back has been a plus EV move all year. So I just, for me, you're giving me Kamara at this insane discount. You're getting these 2 running backs who should be near 10K priced at $8,000. I genuinely don't understand their pricing. So I'm trying to play all 3 of them. The only way that I don't play all 3 of them is if Damian Williams becomes a lock because of no Spencer Ware. And James White, I think, is a fantastic play. But so if you only want to play one of Zeke or Gurley and you want to play, White and Kamara, I think that works too. But I think I'm gonna find a punt at tight end and maybe just embrace a 0.
That's the thing. I don't know, but I'm with you though. Like, I feel like I have a hard time not playing 8K Zeke and 8K.
Gurley's price is a joke, right? I mean, what's his name? I don't want to disrespect him. Is it Derek Carty?
Yes.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about, right? Where he had that whole thread about whether or not Gurley's worth 10K. Now he's 8K.
Right.
Well, yeah, I'm aware he is. I'm not getting into this where he took a victory lap because Gurley got hurt.
Right.
But he's 8K. He averages 1.5 touchdowns per game. That's absurd.
So I think to drive a nail. Well, I don't even know what the right saying is. I can't even think straight. If you want to fade Kamara, I think that's the one back that you fade. In cash, I'm not worried about the negative correlation between Zeke and Gurley. They're too cheap. They should be way more than that. And they're the only 2 backs that aren't in a theoretical or potential timeshare where somebody's getting taken out around the goal line, right? Like Kamara legitimately loses goal line touches to Mark Ingram. We've seen it happen. The range of outcomes there. It's a possibility, right? So if you want to get Kelsey in, I think you're not using Kamara and you're using James White instead. And that's probably how it goes, or Williams if there's news. So
yeah, you can't fit all 3. You can't fit Zeke, Gurley, and Kelsey. You just can't.
No, not at all. It's not.
You can. Your lineup's just gonna be terrible.
Right. Yeah.
No, you can fit Zeke, Gurley, and Kelsey. You cannot fit Zeke, Gurley, Kelsey, and Kamara.
Well, okay. You can't fit. Let me rephrase. You can't fit Zeke, Gurley, Kelsey, and one of Luck or Mahomes.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You're punting. You're punting at wide receiver. Robert Woods is your most expensive wide receiver, and then you're using Ginn and Inman.
No, doesn't work.
I don't think that would work.
All right, I'll build it and then I'll send it.
Hey Hodge, just a reminder, your wife puts honey mustard on steak.
All right, so the I guess
worth it.
Hodge/quit. So the thing that's so tough about this game is it's like I think we're on the same page, Elliot, where I'm probably on Gurley over Zeke. Just the fact that if I have to pick one of the two, my goal is to play both. Just because I think the Rams are the better team.
I think Hodge, by the way, is 100% right, where we normally talk about you don't play two running backs in the same game. But both running backs are game script independent, where they're going to be highly involved no matter what.
Yeah, so and they're just like at least $1,000 underpriced.
Yeah, I'm not worried about negative correlation on a 4-game slate.
You're talking about two guys that are going to – Zeke's going to touch the ball at least, 30-plus times in this game?
Right. And then Gurley's going to get the 26 money touches.
Yo, I'm so sick of DraftKings. My page is not working when you have more than 100 lineups. Like, this is ridiculous.
Good luck.
I can't. I have to go find that link. I can't build it. So.
Nope. Not for me.
All right. Next game. Oh, actually, I was going to say Cowboys defense. I don't really have interest in it, but I know as like a total punt, Goff has done some dumb things.
Yeah.
All right. Chargers at the Patriots. Chargers get to just get the short end of the stick again for the second week in a row. Have to travel to the East Coast for a 1:00 game. It's like the NFL just like doesn't want them to win, but they just keep doing it. Let's talk Melvin Gordon real quick. I will not have Melvin Gordon. If I have 150, I might have like 5% of him. This guy will be wearing 2 knee braces. He has 2 knee sprains, which means 2 tears in 2 tendons in 2 knees and a high ankle sprain. He was not actively involved in the passing game last week. I think he ran like 10 routes, which is just not, that's not his normal workload. Eckler was way more involved in the passing game. I mean, this guy's not healthy. I can't do it.
You can't. I mean, if this is in an Uber driver interactive league, like fire up Melvin Gordon. But outside of that, there's no reason to play a guy. He played 47% of snaps last week. And the way you attack this Patriots team is with speed against the linebackers, pass-catching running back. So Eckler becomes an interesting GPP play. But, huge shout-out to Melvin Gordon for playing through all this in the playoffs.
Right.
Like, if I was a Chargers fan, I would love Melvin Gordon right now. Taylor, I know you're really happy. I see you just wrote your body's ready. Please don't have your body ready to play Melvin Gordon this week. But, you just don't do it. Yep.
How'd you playing Gordon?
No.
Right. Yeah, I keep fighting people on it. It's a 6,200 Gordon, but it's not. It's not a 6,200 Gordon. It's a 6,200 like 50% Gordon.
Yeah, you know what I would prefer? Melvin Gordon out and then we get one of Austin Eckler or Justin Jackson. I'll play one of those guys.
Then my body would be ready.
Yeah, I'd be beyond ready.
Yep.
If that happened, right, hypothetically, Eckler 80% of snaps and Damian Williams 80% of snaps, who are you playing?
Eckler.
Ooh, I'd go Damian Williams.
If you're guaranteeing me 70% Damian Williams snaps.
So both are guaranteed the exact workload.
I know why Proctor said Eckler, and I think that you're getting goal line work with Eckler, and so I think that might be the slight edge or the slight lean there.
But I think Gordon and Ware are out.
Yes.
Oh, if they're both out.
Yes.
Oh, then I'm playing Damian.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing Damian.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think Eckler is an interesting. I think Eckler is more of like a pivot play that I would put on my bad lineups as a guy who has massive upside for like 10 targets. But I mean, if you watched last week, Gordon was not healthy, not effective. I'm surprised they're even running him out there. then I think it's really tough to decide on any of the Chargers wide receivers. Keenan Allen's just, he's not going to get you 15 targets. That's just not happening anymore right now. Mike Williams, always has the touchdown upside, but he'll probably see a ton of Gilmore. So these are more of like sprinkle guys for me. I don't have any of them as core plays. I don't know if either of you have them as core plays.
I think this game's pretty simple. I think you load up on James White, who's dominated in the postseason as well. I mean, he's got 7 touchdowns in his last 4 games, 34 targets. Yes, that includes a 16-target game against the Falcons, but when White can be exploited against defenses in the playoffs, the Patriots have done it, and that's what you do against the Chargers. And you look at the fact that they got Desmond King on Julian Edelman. They got Casey Hayward on Chris Hogan. They got Derwin James on Gronk. I think this is going to be a running back pass-catching game. I mean, the last 4 weeks of the season, the Patriots threw the running back 25% of snaps. I mean,
here's my question. Does Burkhead throw any wrinkle into that?
A little bit, but not a ton. Because I still think it's going to be the White feature. I think they like White a lot better than Burkhead. Honestly, I would not be shocked if Burkhead plays a lot of. I think you could see both on the same time, and Burkhead ends up in the slot sometimes, and they or a bunch of formations, and they have both guys on the field.
White or Damian Williams?
I mean, I want to say yes. I'm going to have a lot of both of them, and then one of Zeke or Gurley.
Hodge?
It's with the information that we have right now, it's White, and it's White, and it's White, and it's White, and then it's White, and then it's White.
Easy. Oh, okay, we get it. You're saying White too many times.
My concern for White is just Burkhead. I mean, he was not healthy in the playoffs last year, so we really didn't see like how he would affect White's role. I mean, he died like immediately in that Jaguars game, and he was like massively owned. He wasn't healthy for the Titans game.
But even with Burkhead back, though, White has still led the team in snaps, 5 straight weeks?
Right, but I'm saying we don't have a playoff sample size.
That's fair.
With them both on the field. Because it doesn't exist.
But I think White, he averages just under 8 targets a game. The Chargers can't cover running backs. Quite frankly,
Good play.
If I was the Patriots, I'd run both out there.
No, and I think they will. And I was just going to say that I was talking with Holka, and I think a really interesting idea is to play Brady and both of them. Like if you had 100 lineups, then I would make sure to have one of those. Because if Burkhead and White both catch receiving touchdowns from Brady, that's going to be a really unique lineup construction.
That makes sense. By the way, I want 0 Rivers, and I don't really want Brady. But if I was going to play Brady, that's how I'd do it. I think both defenses are actually pretty interesting here.
Yep. No, I'm with you. How'd you play in Gronk?
I think he'll make it into a couple groups, but I might actually limit my exposure. So I might see, I might cap my Gronk exposure depending on where I end up with him, because I think I'll have him in some Rivers groups to run it back. And I obviously will have him in some Tom Brady groups. But if I'm gonna get, he's a guy who I might just want to try and match the field with, because I think that he's only going to end up being like 10% or something like that. So I might just try and match the field. But to take a little bit more of a stance on it, no, I would no Gronk in the power sweep, no Gronk in the 20 max. And definitely no Gronk in head-to-heads.
You don't want to play a left tackle?
Dude.
I gotta say,
we're gonna see some Avengers like memes after this season, like when he retires, just like Gronk going into dust.
I will say that of all the things I was wrong about this year, liking Gronk a ton to start the year, I did not realize that. I felt great about it after week 1 where he had 100 yards against the Texans, and then he stopped being able to play football.
Everyone was so mad at me when I was like, you just don't play Gronk. They're like, look what he did week 1, you idiot. I'm like, all right, hit me up like week 17.
Yeah, enjoy the next 15 weeks.
I just want to say I think both defenses are in play. They're both reasonably priced. The Patriots, have forced 8 turnovers in the last 3 games, 11 sacks in the last 4 games. They can get after the quarterback. Weeks 10 through 15, the Chargers gave up 3.33 stacks. You know, Phillip Rivers is a statue back there. He's known to do dumb things. And I think
he's been historically bad in December and January.
Yep. And the Chargers are going to Chargers like a thing that goes on Twitter. And it's because the Chargers always make dumb plays in big games.
Yep. And if Gordon gets hurt and just goes out, it's over. He's like such a big part of their game plan. I mean, you look at the last few weeks where Gordon's been not been healthy, and Rivers has not thrown for 200 yards in 3 straight games.
He's under 10 DraftKings points in 3 straight games, right?
Yep. How'd you on Rivers?
I am going to condense my player pool down to Mahomes, Luck, and Drew Brees. I think I'm going to really stay away from the rest of these quarterbacks.
Play one Jared Goff team for me.
Okay.
If you play 100 teams, play one Jared Goff team for me.
I'm not playing 100 teams. So 150. So I don't have to, right?
I am. I'll have a little bit of Goff, but I'll have mostly Luck, Mahomes, and Brees.
I'm only going to have a little bit of. I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it very clear for people who are listening to this that I really think that you should be focusing your plays around the 3 guys that me and Proctor just talked about,
right? And
that because I embrace in variance in football, and I know that I'm going to be wrong. And when you're playing 150 lineups, you really should embrace that variance and include some randomness. And that is why I will have some Goff. It's why I will have some Rivers, right? Like I'm not going to remove those guys from my player pool, but there's a very good chance that I do end up capping their exposure to a certain amount.
That's fair. I just want to be on record that of the sub 6K quarterbacks, Goff will score the most points.
I 100% agree, and I actually really like your take on Jared Goff has the best shot at hanging the most points at that price point, right? So like when you're looking at Mahomes and Luck and them, and you're trying to find the poor man Andrew Luck, I do think that it's Goff, right? Like I couldn't agree more.
Goff would stack for what 5,900 and 5,500 has a legit 50-point upside.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's to your point too, Elliot. I think it's Woods over Edelman pretty handedly, but I do think Edelman's an interesting play because as Gronk has turned to dust, Edelman's inside the 10 role has been very good. So
yep.
Yes.
The biggest concern for me is Desmond King because he's been as good of a slot corner as there is in the NFL.
No, he's been great, but at the same time, like he's not always going to be on. It's not going to be 70 of 70 snaps on Desmond King. That's just it's the Patriots. So if there's
Hogan,
that's where I was going to get to next. I think Hogan is interesting as a punt play, but I'm not like super comfortable with him. I mean, the 11 targets against the Jets was cool, but that's not going to happen again.
3 in the previous 2 weeks, right? I mean, my man caught that pass for the Steelers, forgot to cover him, and he ran for 60 yards. But it's not something you can count on. And when he plays outside, he's going to go up against Casey Hayward.
Here's my question: Hogan or Chester Rogers?
Hogan.
Hodge.
Montrell Inman.
Right.
But gun to my head. I'll take. I'll take the. Oh,
it's like actually close is the thing.
I'll take Hogan.
Wait, can I just throw something in there? Hodge, did you know that Hogan played lacrosse?
Yeah. Did you know that I bought a Hogan sleeveless shirt from Hogan's charity drive? True story.
Right. Hodge, it doesn't have to do anything with anything, but every time Hogan makes a play on TV, they need to let you know that for some reason he played lacrosse in college.
I don't listen to that.
Here's the thing. I mean, this. I was talking with Hulk on his stream. This is the game that you project to be like the least scoring on the slate, like easily.
Yes.
This is the game to make pivots onto if you fuck up on Saturday. So this is the game where if my Saturday teams are bad, I'm going to, in my head, tell myself, this game is now going to be a shootout, and I'm going to get exposure to it. But going into tomorrow, I'm going to tell myself this game is going to be a turd compared to the other three, and I'm just like not going to be super in love with it.
That's when you go White to Eckler, right?
Right. Well, White, Eckler, all the pass catchers. I mean, just, make your moves if you're really struggling. But other than that, I just don't love this game.
One of the Williams is getting the bonus and a touchdown. I do think that I don't know if that's like a bold call or not, because I'm just saying one of the Williams does. Like, I do think that one of those guys gets the bonus and a touchdown. I genuinely don't know which one it's going to be.
I feel like they're all just flyers.
By the way, David Kitchen of Roto Grinders, EOM just put this in the chat, said, really hope the field is anti-Melvin Gordon as my fellow Swolecast host. Full practice today and taken off the injury report. He's still.
Yeah, I'll note that. I mean, he's the new injury reporting system. If you know a guy's going to play, you just take him off the report. It doesn't mean he's healthy. So I would.
You don't unsprain. You don't sprain is just a slight tear.
Right. He's hurt.
That doesn't hurt. Oh, that doesn't heal overnight.
Yeah. No. He's hurt. I wouldn't look anything into his practice reporting or anything like that. Hodge, any other guys in this game? I mean, I think we already talked about Hunter Henry. I think he's an interesting play if he plays. Pick Chargers or Patriots D if you had to pick one, Hodge.
Chargers. Actually, Chargers. I think I had to think about that for a second, but the more that I think about it, I think the Chargers create more pressure than the Patriots do. So I'll take the pressure there.
Yeah, they're the better defense.
Yeah,
it's tough.
I think the Chargers are the better defense. I think the Chargers win. I think some of the numbers line up, but the Patriots can outscore the Chargers defense.
It's right. I mean, they're both. Ideally, it's like ideally you want to get to the Rams if you can. It's just really hard. All right.
Well, I think all three of us have a pretty similar idea in terms of how the game flows are going to go in these first three games.
No, I'm with you. How about the third game when the Saints blow out the Eagles?
Oh, it's Pound Out City. What's that? You guys watch wrestling? I don't. What's that What
you know, Big Nick?
Where it lasts like 30 seconds and it's just Brock Lesnar comes in and he body slams people for a minute and then the match is over. That's what the Eagles game is. Like this whole Big Dick Nick Foles thing is really cute that people enjoy that saying and they can make T-shirts and they can talk about his penis size. But like it's all over this week.
They're good shirts though, dude. Hodge, are you on Foles at all?
Yeah, I actually kind of like Nick Foles from a game flow perspective. I don't know why you wouldn't like Big Dig Nick. I mean,
Nick Foles or Jared Goff? Raw points.
Goff. Fuck you.
Because they're they're within $100, and Nick Foles' ownership is currently projected higher than Jared Goff's.
All right.
No, it's not. They're oh yeah, it's a full percent. Shut up.
Well, you know what? Nick
Neither
Foles has 3 inches on Jared Goff. So
Neither of them are going to be very highly owned.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So I think Hodge is with me too. I think Elliot, you're with me too. I don't know how popular Ted Ginn is going to get, but so like Ted Ginn, people remember Ted Ginn as like a Panther and wherever else he's played over his millions of years. But as a Saint, Ted Ginn has been like way more consistent than he gets credit for when he's been healthy. And he's been hurt both of the last 2 years. But last year he came back from an injury right before the playoffs, like the same exact way as this year, and he just smashed in the playoffs. He had 115 yards and a touchdown in the first game, and they had 8 catches for 72 yards in their second game. He's like super highly involved. He's better than Traquan Smith. I mean, Traquan was a fun story. He was awesome in the preseason, but the dude is just like not a complete player. And Ginn's going to get like 6 to 8 targets downfield against like the worst secondary in football. I just don't see how you don't play him. I mean, he's such a good price at 4,400 for a guy with like a 30. I mean, what other 4K wide receivers have like a 30-point ceiling?
They don't. I mean, Ginn's the best. If Watkins was 100% healthy, I think he'd be in the conversation with Ginn.
Yeah, I agree.
But with Ginn, and then you add in the fact that Sidney Jones is very questionable, right? And
who cares? They all suck, man. Everyone told me Avonte Maddox was like the GOAT, and then he gave up like 120 yards and a touchdown. They all suck. They all suck.
I can't just give a cool stat just one time?
No, dude, it doesn't matter. They're
Okay.
just bad.
I hope it's an ATS stat.
It's not an ATS stat. It's just when Sidney Jones is on the field, the yards per attempt is 6.66 against the Eagles. When he's off the field, it's 8.08.
So
But here's the thing, Johnny, before you correct me, because I know you want to. I know, and listen, Law and Order is later. But, like, if you take any Eagles cornerback off the field, because they're all gone, right? The yards per attempt drops. Really,
secondary.
they are, and you can attack them deep. I mean, they gave up nearly 80 yards per game on 15-plus yard per attempt down the field. So, Ginn's a fantastic. Honestly, I think he's got a double-digit floor in this one.
Yep.
He's seen 6 or more targets in all but one game he's played this year.
He's the best wide receiver play on the slate. And I don't think it's particularly close. And I think it's really weird that
Robert Woods would be the one argument I would have at his price point.
it's just, I mean, he's 4.4K.
No, I don't have an argument against Ginn. I would just rank him number 2 behind Woods.
Even better I think on FanDuel he's 3K.
He's
No,
4,500. He's still calling me
4,500, yeah, he's just on man. Hodge, you on again?
I don't know how you're not on Ginn.
Right. All right. Let's talk Thomas, Hodge, because we were talking about this earlier in the week. Do you like Thomas? Do you want to play Thomas? And then if you're like down to the decision of picking between like Zeke or Thomas or Gurley or Thomas, are you playing Thomas over either of those running backs outside of like, 20 max, 150 max?
Yeah, I'll answer that in reverse order. Outside of 20 max, 150 max, no. I've no way am I playing Michael Thomas over either one of those running backs. That should be clear, or I think I need to make that extremely clear. But I do like Michael Thomas. He's got a fantastic weighted opportunity rating. The implied team total, the Saints at home, everything screams Michael Thomas. Well, I don't understand how you don't like Michael Thomas. The issue is that he doesn't work, right? I think that's the problem. He doesn't make for proper GTO cash game roster construction this week. I just think it's as simple as that. Because you play Alvin Kamara for cheaper over him. You play the running backs, who are a little bit more expensive over him. You don't sacrifice either one of those guys. So Michael Thomas is just kind of like, well, where does he fit? Well, he fits in large field. It's as simple as that. He fits in stacks. He fits in five-man stacks, 4-man stacks.
Yep. Agreed.
Can I just add one point to that?
Yeah, man.
Like, you can obviously point out how bad the Eagles are against wide receiver ones, and they give about 109 yards per game, and Michael Thomas is this efficient receiver, and there's no question about his talent. But 100% in agreement that Zeke and Gurley are better plays. I mean, this is the first time all year where price-wise you even have to choose. But Michael Thomas's big games have come in comebacks and back-and-forth games. He in 6 of his last 8 games, he's had single-digit targets. The 2 exceptions were against Pittsburgh and against Tampa, and they were losing by double digits against both. If you think this is a pound-out game, Michael Thomas is not going to get the volume at his ownership and price to pay off in tournaments.
Yeah, and that's where I think if you're playing Thomas, you should have Eagles pieces. On the other side of that, if you want to play a Foles lineup and put Thomas in it, that makes sense.
Thomas makes more sense to stack with Foles than he does with Breeze, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think he's fine with Breeze too. So let's.
I just meant from a game flow standpoint.
Right. Let's talk Breeze real quick. I think Breeze is like a phenomenal play, and I think it's been interesting that if you look at the projection models, most of them hate Breeze. And the reason that the projection models hate Breeze is because most of them use like the last 5 games when you're calculating your numbers. And 3 of the last 5 games were on the road. So like, of course the projection models hate him because he's been on the road. But like at home, he's been over 300 yards in 6 of 8 games at home. He's thrown a shit ton of touchdowns at home.
21 touchdowns to 1 interception at home, averaging 9.5 yards per attempt. That's insane.
I think for both of you, is Breeze like your third quarterback on your main group you're picking from?
Only because of price. He projects more than Andrew Luck for me. So
yeah, and I think models should have him above Andrew Luck, but most of them don't.
I'm looking at a very popular model by somebody who is very highly respected for projecting, and they just recently launched a betting portion of their site. And
you're talking about TQE, aren't you? You're talking about the fact that TQE currently has Drew Brees lower than Andrew Luck, right?
I'm actually not, but thank you for pointing that out.
They all do.
Well, you said betting. I thought it was. When you said highly respected, I knew you weren't talking about us, but then you threw betting.
No, their name rhymes with fantasy dabs, and they have Breeze projected lower than Luck.
Right.
But the good dudes over at 4for4 have Breeze projected higher than Luck.
Right.
So
once these models get some manual tweaking, I think this is going to change.
Which happens tomorrow, typically.
For a lot of sites, I think tomorrow that's going to change. But you're thinking of all these people in the public who have been looking at these models all week, and they're like, "Oh, Breeze is like not a good play. I'm just going to play Luck or Mahomes." Breeze is like a really, really good play.
When is Drew Brees not a good play at home? Like, when is he not? Other than all the times that I've said that Taysom Hill eats into his ceiling, and then that just continues to murder me, and I'm proven wrong. Drew Brees is always a good play at home. Simple as that.
And the Eagles secondary, like Johnny mentioned, is the worst.
Trash. Off the streets.
Yeah. Real bad. Real bad.
I immediately you said off the streets, and now I'm picturing Office highlights from now till forevermore. But
I mean, like, Breeze already smoked them once.
They won 40-7.
Hey, he threw it 30 times and put up 33 fantasy points.
Like, Breeze at home, throw out the volume. Right, I know people talk about efficiency is most important for quarterbacks, but obviously, if you could pick between 30 and 40 attempts, you'd pick 40. But his efficiency at home is absurd, and I don't have a number for this, but the Saints at home in a playoff game, it's gonna be ape shit there tomorrow. Sunday.
Oh yeah. This is a really bad place for the Eagles to be going.
And everyone likes the Eagles.
Can we talk about how if the Saints are up by 25 points, that they probably still end up by 37 points? Like,
they don't care about running.
Yeah.
I think towards the later half of the fourth quarter, if they're actually winning by 3 possessions, then yes, it's all marking room territory. But they will get there, and they will get there quick. And this is a game that I continue to have more and more and more of Drew Brees. And the reason is if you go look at projected ownership on these quarterbacks, you have Luck and you have, what's the other dude's name? Patrick Mahomes. And then you have Drew Brees projected at under 15% ownership right now.
Yep.
You're telling me I can 3x the field and it still be under 50%
right
owner in my player pool? Like, what, bro?
4 games late.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's what this to me right here is just like, come on, this slate. This is why I like these slates. Like, this is great.
Don't you think you could play Breeze and Ginn? Or, I mean, I would play Breeze and Ginn, but hypothetically, you could play Breeze and Naked.
No, never.
You're just playing with Ginn.
Yeah, no.
First off,
or Ben Watson.
Well, but the point is that the Saints really will spread the ball in this game.
No, I know that, but there are just such cheap pieces to fit him with.
No, I would play him with Ginn. Johnny, I'm with you. Like, if I was confident Watkins was 100%, I would rotate him and Ginn in most of my lineups. But without that confidence, I just want to play Ginn, and I think Breeze is 100% in play. I mean, he's gonna.
Yeah.
What his floor is? What, 24 points in this game?
I think that's his median. That's his median. I don't think that's
Probably
his floor.
Probably like 18. I feel like 15,
Yeah,
18.
You're right, Hodge. By the way, I'm sorry, I said floor, but like, if I gave you over under 24, you'd probably take the over.
I mean, I would bet the over on 300 passing yards, like for sure.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see a lot of these guys' player props tomorrow.
Yeah, it's crazy that the projection models have Breeze's yards so low. Like you go look, like Pro Football Focus, I think had him at like 225 passing yards. Mike Clay had him at like 257, but that's because the models are taking into account the last 5 games, the last 4 or 5 games.
Can we throw out one other stat? Well, one thing that's really important about this game is there are a couple Saints linemen that are questionable.
Sounds like they're good to go.
Right. Larry Wofford, Andrews Pete are most likely to. Is Taron Armstead going to play?
Yes.
So
last I read, Armstead will play.
Right. That's what I saw too. But can I just throw out a couple stats on him? Pass success rate with Taron Armstead jumps 8.1%. It's at 62% success rate with Taron Armstead in the game. Explosive pass rate jumps 2%. Sack rate drops 1%. Yards per attempt is 8.84 with Armstead in the game.
Question is, has he missed some home games?
Yeah.
Then
he's missed the last 6 games.
Okay. No, I just mean in the sense that it's always
you
tough.
You want to make sure it's not all on the road games and that
it's always tough to look at splits with Breeze.
Right.
When it comes to on off with home and whatnot. But the Saints have like what's his name? Who's their backup tackle? He's probably the best backup tackle.
Oh, the guy that's actually like an NFL starter. I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a future Hall of Famer. So, I mean, the Saints O-line depth is good. I mean, granted, you want Armstead on the field, but it's not one of those where if Armstead has an aggravation and the Bushrod. So, if Armstead has a aggravation in the game, Bushrod is like a very, very, very capable backup.
I think Bushrod. Well, I don't know where Labs pulls their data, but they have Bushrod starting. So whatever, we'll look at that later. But like you said, I don't think that matters. I think it does matter. Elliott just put out some really good statistics, but I don't. It's not like this. It's not like Zach Martin goes missing for Dallas, right? Like that's this huge drastic effect.
100%. I was just trying to point out that Armstead.
No,
he's good at his job.
Play.
No, he's very, very good.
4.65.
Yeah,
it's very good. Armstead will play.
Drew's Breeze passing prop is set at 290 yards. So whoever you said Mike has him at 250.
Yep, PFF has him like 230.
Hey, Jeff Redcliffe, you fucking fish.
Dude, I'm telling you, these models need tweaked, and aren't tweaking them.
225.5. I will borrow money from my parents to put more money on
I'm saying, go put a max bet, and the book tells you, oh, it's $500 because it's a player prop.
Yeah. Seriously though.
But yeah, all right. So let's talk some Eagles players real quick. I think Zach Ertz is a really good play. 5,700 is really cheap for him. Even though, I mean, especially when people look at his last game against the Saints, it was really bad. But at the same time, the Saints blew them out. They did absolutely nothing. Carson Wentz was just a total shit bomb there that week. And the Saints have been really good against tight ends, but Ertz isn't the normal tight end, and I don't know if that game was really indicative of what a normal week of Ertz against the Saints would be. I think
Ertz was in play. I'd rather play, honestly, for the ownership, I'd rather play Ertz than Ebron. Despite the fact that Ebron has a better matchup. I think Ertz is going to see double the volume of him. Mm-hmm. I think Jeffrey's got a tough matchup, despite the fact that the numbers indicate that. I think the big concern is that the Saints have been beat over the top, and Nick Foles, I think the PFF stat is that he's 33 of 36 quarterbacks in terms of taking shots down the field, which would lead you to believe that if he continues to attack underneath and Golden Tate plays more and more snaps and Dallas Goedert, like the last game and like the game against the Saints, plays less snaps, Golden Tate's in play. And I think Nelson Aguilar against Eli Apple, because you just attack Eli Apple. But in the way, that's how I would attack the Eagles. I don't want any Nick Foles, but I'll take some Golden Tate, I'll take some Nelson Aguilar, I'll take some Zach Ertz.
And I think with Zach Ertz too, he's last. I mean, you get pivot viability versus Ebron.
Yes. Yep. And that is one of the biggest things that I want to touch on too. There's a lot of good swap in this game. Like a lot of good swap in this game. It's very, very easy to move away from maybe, let's say you have Julian Edelman, right? And you totally screwed up on Saturday. It's very easy to play a guy like Tate as a swap or something like that, or to get Zach Ertz in your flex if you did play Ebron.
So just for some comedy as we're getting towards the end of this, Horst has already bet his full 5,000 on Iona Gales to beat the Niagara Purple Eagles.
Yeah. Dude, did he place that?
Yep.
He's not trolling with that? This
No,
bet has been placed today at 6:57.
Yeah, can I give a shameless plug real quick?
Yeah.
Because I know you guys don't do this sport, but we just launched our college basketball product. If people are interested, Mike Kutry is our expert. He's won 5 GPPs so far this year. So I kind of wish Horst asked Mike if he thought Iona was a good bet before he placed his $5,000 budget on it. But
It wouldn't affect it. Horst did that 9 beers deep and with his left eye closed. He doesn't care.
I just wish someone told him which team to click on.
Oh man. So, all right, back to this game real quick. Saints defense. If you had to pick, so say you had 3,300 on DraftKings, do you pick the Rams or do you pick the Saints?
The Saints. Oh, sorry, the Rams.
Right. I think
Foles
that's
doesn't get sacked, and he's last week he turned the ball over twice, but he's done a pretty good job protecting the football. With so
Eagles
many,
I was just gonna say the Eagles O-line's been really good.
yeah, they protect the quarterback, and Foles takes a ton of shots underneath, which tend to not be picked off.
Yep. Hodge, I don't know where you are on those two.
What was the question? I was reading Horst's tweet.
If you had to pick if you had the money and you had to pick between the Saints and the Rams, who do you pick?
I take the Saints at home against Foles.
I think they'll be lower owned. I think the Rams have a better floor, but I think Foles gives you the ceiling.
I'm sorry. You just said the Saints and the Rams?
Yeah.
I'm taking the Rams. I thought you wanted me to pick a defense from this game, and I was like, it's the Saints.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Saints versus Rams. It's Rams. I genuinely think they get better pressure on Dak. So
does it make you concerned that you agreed with me?
No, because I didn't hear what you said. So
same thing. But I think we pretty much covered this slate. I don't know if there's anyone we really missed on this one. I think Golden Tate is a pretty good play, and I don't think anyone's really going to be all that interested in him. I was talking to somebody earlier, and I said that a really nice way to just get exposure to this game at the end is to just play Tate and Ginn, and they're both really cheap. So you can load up outside of those two, and then you still have back and forth exposure to this.
Woods, Tate, and Ginn would be the wide receiver core you go to load up everywhere else, right?
Yeah. No, I think that or like Inman,
right.
or something like that.
Or Aguilar, or I really want to play Watkins, but I just do not trust that he's healthy.
It's so tough. I think we should know more tomorrow, but I guess let's talk about Dallas Goedert real quick. I think he's a donkey play. He barely played last week. He played like half the snaps and ran 10 routes or something.
Yeah, he just happened to catch a touchdown and move on. No interest in that.
Thoughts on Goddard
this week? No.
Yeah.
I mean, the Saints are already good enough against the tight ends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If I get the low ownership, why go all the way down to Goddard?
Goddard ran 2 more routes than Virgil Green, so have at it.
Well, Smith thinks Virgil Green's a great play this week.
But I would play Hunter Henry for less ownership than Dallas Goedert for sure. Any other last minute thoughts, or if not, we'll get out of here.
Just go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if anyone wants to bet on Nick Foles versus Jared Goff, I'm happy to put up, as Donald Trump would say, billions. No, but on a serious note, I see that his player prop is the same as Goff's. Goff's is 277 and Foles is 274. That surprises me. I would take
public money.
If I can find it, if anyone finds that bet, please at me where I can bet Goff over Foles and passing yards.
You'll get there. Hodge, any other last minute thoughts?
I was just gonna say something that I did last slate in 150 was I didn't play any of the fringe tight ends. I stuck to that group of 4, I think it was, and then there was a Trey Burton news, so it was really just group of 3. As the slate goes on, I'm considering just doing that again. I'm just considering just playing the Ebron, the Kelsey, the Ertz, and the Gronk, and in large field stuff. When so I think staying away from some of those fringe tight ends and avoiding a 0 in large field, I think, is very important.
Yep.
Sharon just shared a player prop thing where T.Y. Hilton's numbers over Tyreek Hill's.
No, crazy, man. But give me Tyreek Hill.
45. Don't play Ebron in DFS. Just bet is over.
Yeah. No, I mean, Ebron has not been killing it on the yards department, so you're just hoping for touchdowns. All right. I think that's it for this slate. Make sure you check us out again Sunday morning for the pivot slate. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about the Patriots game on Sunday morning because that's going to be the big one to make some moves in. But we will catch you guys later. Peace.